This is going to be weird. I'm not going to tell you the whole story because we don't have that kind of time. And we really don't need the penthouse letter-like details of when I was in high school and had a lengthy affair with my teacher. I know, I'm still shocked too. Like, nowadays people look at me and they're like, God, I hope he's funny. I don't know what it was. I had a full head of hair. I don't know. I lifted weights. I wore parachute pants. So the total package, but I was not expecting this. But I can take you back to school, that first day of school. It was 1991, and I was in Algebra 2. I shouldn't have been. I was terrible in the prequel. But it was just what you did. You did algebra, you did geometry, then Algebra 2. Presiding over us was Mr. Clagy, 5'1" of iron fist. He did not tolerate interruptions or aberrations. You could have ridden in on the back of a unicorn with the baby Jesus, and he would have told you to wait your turn. And so I sat there nervously, but feeling kind of good. It sucks that summer is over, but that first day of school, you got new stuff, new pants, maybe new shoes. You got the Trapper Keeper that's unfettered by graffiti. That's right. You could turn it into your own little cubicle before you had to live in Dilbertville for a living. And you had the blank college ruled notepad right here that you swore to yourself on that first day would be nothing but legible and informative notes. I mean, sure, by period 4, you'd already drifted into doodling, but right then you felt good about yourself. This was everything the educational world wanted you to be. And Mr. Clagy stepped up, and we thought he was going to do what he did. This Napoleonic complex, wandering around in a tucked-in shirt and a pocket protector. He looked like an early 60s scientist who did a bunch of math to get some medal on the moon. But he was 20 years too late, and with much disdain told us how often he had to settle for us. But on this day, when we thought he was about to stand up and pound into us the annual algorithm for learning algebra, he instead broke a little bit. And he said that we had a special guest. We were like, what could this be? And he said that the creative writing teacher, Mrs. Fitz, knew of someone in his math class that was a better writer than mathematician. And I looked around and thought, that guy's a tool. And when I looked around, my buddy Ronnie leaned over and said, she kind of likes you. And I did that thing any dapper gentleman would do. I laughed and snorted at the same time. And I was like, that's not possible. But it did kind of set a light and some nervousness in me. When she walked in the room, I wasn't quite prepared. I'd had her prior for Spanish, but this hit different. Summer dress, summer tan, summer muscles. I call it kind of a hippie sexiness, like she'd worked out, but not boring stuff like running around the neighborhood. Like maybe she fought with the Sandinistas over the summer or something. Lived on grubs and guava, and here she was. And I'm thinking, okay, there's a chance this could happen. And I think let me just gauge the room, and I turn, and everyone's looking at me like a peephole into my life, prying into my personals. Ronnie doesn't say anything at all, and I say, shut up! And I realize I'm starting to react. In the emotional chaos, I collapse into a dark, deafening place where I cannot hear what's going on in class, but apparently in that period, she said it was me. And without even realizing I was getting up, suddenly I was floating. Like roller skates with wings, I followed her out into the hallway. And the door behind me, Algebra 2, clicked shut decidedly. Ironically, all the variables became very clear. And it's weird. It is weird how your life can change. Just refracting through the prism of a moment. Like just a few minutes prior, I was destined for Hillsdale College, a conservative enclave in Michigan, where some of you know this, where my staunch Republican grandmother said I would go, and that's the place she would pay for. I would become a financial consultant, she would say, and I would say, of course. And then suddenly, I'm in the hallway with this woman, and a year later, while we were in Mexico together, we would... Yeah. she would overrule my grandma. And I would end up in her alma mater of Fort Lewis College in Durango. Yeah, a place that does not make a lot of financial consultants, but where financial consultants send their kids for the best 6 years of their life. And I turned and looked at her and she at me, and I quipped quickly like, I guess it's just you and me, or me and you, whatever it is grammatically. I guess we'll find out in your class. And she said, oh, you're so funny. And I was like, that's not the guidance I was expecting. And she walked, and then I followed a completely different itinerary into the future. Thank you.